So we're ready to start. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Education. Today is Wednesday, May 12th, and I call this meeting to order. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Cano?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Pearson?
Yes.
Senator 70?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 6 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. And today we do have a fairly short agenda, and the first thing that I'd like to do is take the bills that we have scheduled for consideration today. And we're going to start with Senate Bill number 89 by Senator Raptakis, an act related to education, offenses pertaining to schools, the Rhode Island Board of Education Act, which prohibits the use of a school district listservs to distribute any political advertisement, invitation, or propaganda. I would entertain a motion.
So, motion to approve? Second.
Motion to pass made by Senator DePalma, seconded by Senator 70. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Cano?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino? Senator Pearson?
Yes.
Senator 70?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 6 in the affirmative.
And this bill has been passed to the floor for a full vote of the Senate. At this time, the next item in the agenda is Senate Bill 211 by Senator Gallo, an act related to education, school committees, and superintendents, which establish courses that include instruction in career and technical education programs. And I will entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Motion to pass second by Senator 70, seconded by Senator DePalma and Senator Quezada. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Cano?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Pearson?
Yes.
Senator 70?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 6 in the affirmative.
And this bill has been moved to pass to the full Senate to vote on it. I would like at this time to actually take on House Bill number 5224 sub A by Representative Cherkashi, an act related to education, and this is the bill that is a mirror to Senate President Dominic Ruggiero and the Rhode Island Promise. So I'd like to entertain
Motion to approve.
a motion to pass made by Senator DePalma, seconded by Senator Quezada and 70. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Cano?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Pearson?
Yes.
Senator 70?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 6 in the affirmative.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. At this time, we're going to start actually with Senate Bill A40 by Senator Goldin. But before we do that, I know we do have a sub A, so I would like to entertain a motion to postpone indefinitely for Senate Bill A40. A motion has been on the table by Senator DePalma, seconded by Senator 70. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairperson Cano?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yeah. Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Pearson,
Yes.
Senator Seveny,
Yes.
Senator Gallo.
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 7 in the affirmative.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. And now I'd like to bring up Senate Bill A40, Sub A, by Senator Goldin. Senator Goldin, are you with us today?
I am.
Hi, how are you? And welcome to Senate Education.
Thank you. You're running a very quick meeting.
We are very ready for you.
Thank you very much, Chair, for hearing this bill today. The bill you have before you comes from, some of you might remember, we were there in 2016 when we passed into law a requirement that there be a curriculum teaching about the Holocaust and genocide in Rhode Island schools. The coalition that has been working to do so on that curriculum and has been working collectively for years requested this legislation so that they could become a formal commission. And I'm pretty sure Marty Cooper will be testifying verbally to provide any input on why it is they need to do that.
Thank you, Senator Goldin. And we do have some people that have signed up to testify, as you said, and we also have some written testimony on your legislation. At this time, I'd like to ask if any members of the committee have any questions or comments for Senator Goldin. That being none, we could start with testimony for Senate Bill 283 Sub A. And the first person that, actually, A40, I'm sorry about that. Senate Bill A40, and the person that have signed up to testify is Stephanie Hague from the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island in support of the legislation. Good afternoon, Stephanie. Welcome to Senate Education Committee.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. We are ready for your testimony today.
Sure, thank you. This is Chairperson Cano. Thank you, and members of the committee. I'm here to call in support of Senate Bill 840. I am the Director of Community Relations at the Jewish Alliance of Greater Rhode Island. We serve more than 20,000 Jewish community members in Rhode Island. We're a thriving local Jewish community, but also very aware of our history. And as the eyewitness generation shrinks, we're witnessing an alarming rise of mis and lack information around the Holocaust. A recent study just showed the majority of emerging adults could not say how many Jews were murdered in the Holocaust, and nearly half could not even name a concentration camp. More alarmingly, the study showed that there is increased susceptibility to Holocaust denial and distortion, and in our own state of Rhode Island, we are witnessing alarming and rising neo-Nazi and white supremacist activity. We do work closely with law enforcement to monitor this, but I think we all know that education is at the core of helping young people understand history and also develop their own critical thinking skills around social issues. This legislation would support the previously passed mandate on Holocaust and genocide education, provide oversight and strategy, and make sure all of our youth are learning about the important lessons from Holocaust and genocide of the past. So I hope you will join the Jewish Alliance in supporting this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony today. We really appreciate it. Does any members of the committee have any questions or comments for Stephanie at this time? That being none, thank you so much, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you all very much. Have a good night.
You as well. At this time, I'd like to make sure that everybody knows that we have Senator Gallo present with us today. Madam President, we want to make sure that you get recorded for the votes. So do you want to be recorded in the affirmative for Senate Bill 89, Senate Bill 211, and House Bill 5224 Sub A?
Yes, please, Madam Chair.
And that is noted. Before we continue with testimony for A40, we realize, and that is on me, that we have testimony for House Bill 5224, and we have 3 people that have signed up to testify on this bill. And so we're going to pause testimony for 840 for 1 second, and we're just going to bring up the testimony for House Bill 5224 at this time. So at this time, I'd like to start with Haluk Pelit, which is in opposition of this legislation. Just want to make sure that we give the opportunity to speak. And again, I apologize for the mess up. I didn't see the list before we voted on this legislation. So I want to make sure that for the record, this person gets to have their say. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we tried to contact Haluk Pelit, and we were not able to get on hold with this person. So the next person that has signed up to testify in support of the legislation is Steve Brown for ACLU of Rhode Island. And we're trying to get in touch with Stephen Brown. Steve, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Stephen Brown on behalf of the ACLU of Rhode Island. I'll be very quick. You've already passed out of committee 5224 sub A. I just wanted to be available in case there were any questions about the sub A version of the bill, which in addition to making Rhode Island Promise program permanent, also put in some safeguards in order to protect the rights of students with disabilities who were participating in the program, and we strongly supported the inclusion of those amendments in the sub-A. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to make those comments.
Thank you, Stephen. I'm so sorry about the messed up. We really appreciate you giving your comments to the committee. And at this time, I'd like to ask if any members of the committee have any questions or comments for Steve. That being known, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Bye now.
At this time, the next person that has signed up to testify on this legislation is Rob Marshall from the Rhode Island Developmental Disabilities Council. And he has stated in opposition. Mr. Marshall, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on behalf of the Rhode Island Developmental Disabilities Council. Since you already passed the sub-A, I'm just going to thank Speaker Sakachi for putting in the protections for students with disabilities, and I'm going to shut up. So I don't change your mind.
I really appreciate it, and I'm so sorry again about the messed up. We really appreciate you. I know that you did also call when we did have the testimony for the Senate version, and we really appreciate all you do. At this time, I have to ask if any members of the committee have any questions or comments. That being none, thank you so much, and that has concluded testimony for House Bill 5224, Sub-A. Now we will continue and resume to testimony on Senate Bill 840, and the next person that has signed up to testify is Melik Bektas on her own. in opposition of the legislation? Welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Hello.
You can proceed with the testimony.
Okay. Dear Chairman McNamara and members of the Senate, I am against this bill to pass it as it is. It needs to be revised. I'm a resident of North Providence, also a part of a growing Turkish community. We need more deep research that involves both sides of the story. The truth and the historical realities should be the main guiding principle of this education. And I think if the young brains are misled by a narration whose main aim is not teaching the truth, but to create a certain political atmosphere or a case against the country or its people, then I think the result will be entirely counterproductive. The seeds of this new alliance between the communities will have been planted, and leaving a certain group of young people, in this case the children of Turkish American community, will be disenfranchised and then caused by a feeling of becoming a target of narrative produced over the years, not based on historical truth. Now, as a Turkish American, I would like to create an awareness that this bill will put our kids in a situation where they'll be even more excluded from their environment. It is already happening, and it's going to get worse. And the debate on the events that occurred in 1915 belongs to history, not politics. Nevertheless, here's the most important thing. There is no academic political consensus on the events of 1915. Once again, this is a one-sided story and far away from the whole truth. If anyone who like to call these events a genocide, talking about the Armenian ones, so-called, then the Russian-backed terrorist Armenians, what they did to the Ottoman citizens shall be called genocide as well. So again, why this is one-sided? It is so far away from the truth. Maybe because some of the local Armenians pushing for this, one-sided story, but the Russian allied rebellious Armenians captured the Ottoman cities with heavy Russian artillery against Ottomans. So this was a war, and it's called World War I. If what happens to Armenians was a genocide, then any fight, war, killing shall be considered a genocide. So please go ahead and add Ottoman genocide next to Armenia, or remove Armenia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your testimony today. Do we have any members of the committee that has any questions or comments for Millie?
Please.
That being none, thank you so much for calling in and have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
The next person that have signed up to testify on this bill is Andy Andrade from RIDE in support of the legislation. Good afternoon, Andy, to the Senate Education Committee.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. RIDE does support this legislation. I had the pleasure of working with Senator Goldin in 2016 to pass legislation that is the precursor to this bill. As she mentioned, the goal of the legislation in 2016 was that every school district should include curriculum in the unit of instruction on the Holocaust and the genocides. And districts were utilized materials collected and disseminated by RIDE. We've worked very collaboratively with many stakeholders, including the Rhode Island Jewish Alliance, to collect great instructional materials. They've been a wealth of information. We've created a section on our website to make sure schools that have received the information and alerted to the field that these resources are available. So we very, very much appreciate that. The only thing I was going to mention, you've already taken care of it with the Sub-A, because we wanted to make sure that we were a member of the commission. We've been very, very involved from day one with this, and we would very much like to continue. This legislation takes an important next step by setting up the commission, and that will carry this very important work forward. So we're very appreciative of being included in the commission and looking forward to working with the stakeholders to make these even better. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony today, Andy. And does any members of the committee have any questions or comments for Andy at this time? That being none, have a great day.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
The next person that has signed up to testify in opposition of this legislation is Hamid Mer Sunekul. I'm not sure if I pronounced your last name well. Hamid, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you so much for having me.
You can continue with the testimony.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this time and explain myself. My name is Hamid Machnechulu. I'm a small business owner in Providence, Rhode Island, and I'm a director of professional sport team in Rhode Island as well. I am against this bill. Reason why is Armenian genocide is a lie and they are not telling the truth. If you look at the history of Ottoman Empire, they ruled 3 different continents over 700 years with peace and lawful. My grandparents, they were in Greece at that time, and when the First World War happened, they exchanged with Greek people in Turkey, and they never had an issue whatsoever. But somehow, Armenian, they had the same knowledge and they had the same ability to exchange their land, but they didn't do it. In return, what they did was they act together with Russians and they tried to, get the lands over from us. And in return, the Ottomans, they had to fight for themselves. And in return, they called themselves genocide, but that was nothing against the Armenians. It was the First World War. And also, I have 2 kids. One of them is 1 year old, and one of them is 6 years old, and he's currently going to kindergarten. And I keep telling them that I'm so proud of them because they're Turkish American and they have the future of Rhode Island as a Turkish community in Rhode Island. And I don't want them to grow up with something lie, which is not truth, and they cannot prove anything as that. We have to look at the research and all that stuff, and we can open our libraries. We can give all backstories about this, and we can find the reality on this. We have to do that because I don't want to see my sons bullying and something that they are not true. And I am against this bill. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your testimony today. Does any members of the committee have any questions or comments at this time?
Please.
That being none, we really appreciate you taking the time to testify today.
Thank you.
The next person that have signed up to testify in support of Senate Bill 840 Sub A is Barbara Weldwer from the Rhode Island Holocaust and Genocide Education Coalition. Barbara, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay.
Would you be able to just lower your computer? We get a little bit of feedback.
I did. Okay.
Perfect. You can proceed now.
Okay. Hi, my name is Barbara Wahlberg, and I'm an educator for the Cranston Public Schools at Cranston High School East, where I've been teaching for 24 years. For all 24 years of my teaching career, I have been teaching about the Holocaust at Cranston East. This is a very important subject to teach, and it's imperative to learn about this dark history. I am not only a classroom teacher, I am also a 2002 United States Holocaust Memorial Museum Fellow, which is a very honorable thing to be. It's an honor to be included in that group of teachers. I have also worked at the UFC Shoah Foundation, and I am currently the Vice President for Education at the Sandra Bornstein Holocaust Education Center, where I have served in that capacity for 6 years. I assisted in the drafting of the 2016 legislation, and that brought me to this point with my involvement with the Rhode Island Holocaust and Genocide Education Coalition. I have also designed a Holocaust and Genocide education class for the Cranston Public School system. Teaching about the genocide is not an easy task, and sometimes people ask me why I do it. Why do children need to know that these reprehensible crimes against humanity happened? Only recently, one of my students hit the nail on the head when I asked, why is it important to learn about the Holocaust? Her simple yet profound response was, because ordinary people did terrible things to other ordinary people. When a student responds with such clarity, time stands still for just a moment, and I think, yes, this is why I teach the Holocaust and other genocides. I do want to reiterate that there is so much evidence about the Armenian genocide, and studying this is not political in any way, but is only educational, because regardless, when you decimate a country and almost 2 million people are killed, it is a genocide. It all begins with education, and it all begins now. And this is why the Rhode Island Holocaust and Genocide Commission is needed at this moment. This commission will be a leading factor in the ability to create a statewide quality curricula, providing guidance for state teaching standards for teaching this material, and recommend professional development for in-service and pre-service teachers before they are able to step into a classroom to teach such sensitive subjects. In addition to enforcing compliance and making all public middle and high schools accountable to the mission of the Holocaust and Genocide Education Law of 2016. I thank you all for allowing me this time to support this very important endeavor, and I hope you will vote to pass Senate Bill 840. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for your testimony and all the work that you have put in to support the granting of this legislation. At this time, I'd like to ask any members of the committee if you have any questions or comments for Barbara. That being none, thank you so much for all the work, and thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Next person that has called to testify in opposition of Senate Bill A40 sub A is Emre of Stunk, and he's calling about himself. We tried to connect with them, but it seems that we are not able to get that person through. And the next person that has signed up to testify in support of the legislation is Martin Cooper, that is calling from the Rhode Island Holocaust and Genocide Education Coalition in support of the legislation. Mr. Cooper, welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you.
You can proceed.
Okay. I'm testifying in support of 840. In 2015, I had the honor to create legislation requiring middle and high schools to teach Holocaust and genocide to our students in Rhode Island. During the hearing, I was asked if there was a need for a commission to be formed. My reply at the time was first lay down a foundation. The Rhode Island Holocaust and Genocide Education Coalition was formed initially. It was made up of concerned people and organizations and was a precursor to what would hopefully be a commission. It worked with the Rhode Island Department of Education to provide resources for educators, which is currently available via the RIDE website. The foundation is for Rhode Island Commission on Holocaust and Genocide Education is laid, and we need to move forward. There is much to be done which only a commission can accomplish. This includes creating stronger accountability and credibility within academics as well as the general public. This will include overseeing a community-wide Holocaust Genocide Awareness Month, which will be a vehicle to promote its mission to the general public. After World War II, a strong mantra was never again. It came about in hopes of ending atrocities that left millions of dead and misplaced. Unfortunately, atrocities have and continue to take place in our world today. We need more than words of never again. It starts with educating our young and on this topic. It is a significant element to end hate, bullying, racism that ultimately brings about death and destruction. A commission is needed to make sure we provide this education. As President Biden said on April 24th, when acknowledging the Armenian genocide, today, as we mourn what was lost, let us also turn our eyes to the future, toward the world that we wish to build for our children, a world unstained by the daily evils of bigotry and intolerance, where human rights are respected and where all people are able to pursue their lives in dignity and security. Let us renew our shared resolve to prevent future atrocities from occurring anywhere in the world, and let us pursue healing and reconciliation for all people of the world. And with that, I strongly support the bill. And thank you, Senators, for hearing me.
Thank you so much for your testimony today. We really appreciate it, and thank you for the work that you have put in for this legislation as well. Does any members of the committee have any questions or comments for Mr. Cooper at this time? There being none, thank you, Mr. Cooper.
All right, thank you very much.
The next person that has signed up to testify in opposition of this bill is Guka Bural.
Yes.
Hi, Guka. Welcome to the Senate Education Committee.
Thank you.
You can proceed.
Thanks. My name is Gökhan Vural, and I am a resident of North Providence. I have 3 daughters, Arya, Lydia, and Kyra, soon to be middle school students. We don't want this bill, which I would like to specify that Armenian genocide part only, which was denied by United Nations multiple times, to cause lifelong trauma for our children, especially in their teenage times, by being bullied by their classmates. We want our kids to be part of this beautiful American culture. This discriminative House bill, once again, Armenian genocide part only, will create even more hateful generations against the Turkish young souls, especially in their middle school times, for those who are easy to be exposed to bullying, which will cause lifelong trauma for them. I came from a district in Turkey where we Turks and Armenians were living peacefully together. We were never raised with any kind of hateful thoughts towards the Armenian society, even though my own ancestors who were exposed to a massacre by Armenians themselves. This unfortunate House bill will fulfill young souls even more hatred and discrimination, and will cause bullying and lifelong trauma for them. And we all know that being bullied in these early stages of life can lead young souls to even suicide. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony today. We really appreciate you calling in. And does any members of the committee have any questions or comments at this time? That being none, have a great day.
You as well. Thank you.
And he was the last person that we have in the list that had signed up to personally testify for Senate Bill 840, Sub A. We also have received written testimony in support and opposition for this legislation from different people. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to hold.
So moved.
Motion to hold made by Senator Gallo, second by Senator DePalma. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Cano?
Yes.
Senator Gallo?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator Calkin? Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Pearson? Senator 70?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 6 in the affirmative.
And this bill has been moved to hold for further study. And thank you, Senator Goldin, for your testimony today. At this time, I'd like to ask our Madam Vice Chair to take the committee on. I do have a commitment, so I would leave you in good hands. Madam Vice Chair, thank you so much for being here and helping us today with the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to be here. Okay, so the next bill that we'll be taking up is Bill number 283 by myself. And it's an act relating to education, school building authority, It provides that school construction projects approved after July 1st, 2021 that fail to utilize a project's architectural services and project educational design services would only be eligible to receive 5 incentive points. And I believe we have someone calling in from the American Institute of Architects. Edward Rouse. Welcome, Mr. Rouse. Mr. Rouse, can you hear me?
Welcome, Mr. Rouse.
Hello?
Yes, can you please lower your computer so that we don't get all that feedback?
Hello?
Hello?
Mr. Rouse, can you hear me?
Hello?
Mr. Rouse, can you hear us?
Hello?
I don't think he can hear us. Okay.
Yes, please lower your computer so that we don't get all that feedback.
Yes, I will.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
This is Jeff.
Good afternoon, Jeff Taylor. How are you?
Madam Vice Chair, how are you? Thank
Very
you very
good,
much for
thank
the
you.
opportunity. I don't believe, if you could correct me, did you happen to get through to Mr. Rouse, or was that successful? I didn't quite hear that.
We had a delay and he wasn't quite able to, we weren't able to hear each other, so we're going to try him again after you.
Okay, great. So what I'll do, Madam Chair, I want to start off by thanking you for your support of this legislation. This year and in some previous years, for those on the committee who aren't aware, Vice Chair Gallo has introduced this bill, or at least something very similar to this bill, over the last few years, of which in, I believe, 2019, a version of this bill did pass the Senate. The same concept, although we do have some changes to that original legislation. And thank you, Madam Chair, again for your leadership. Just one quick question. I believe there is a sub-A. Has that been put forth before the committee? Because I want to make sure I'm talking to the correct legislation that's before the committee.
The sub-A has not been put before the committee.
Okay. I can explain the provisions in the sub-A if you think that would be helpful, so that when it is put forth before the committee, you'll have an idea of what those changes are. Do you think that would be helpful?
I don't have the sub-A in front of me today.
Okay.
So hold on.
It was
Can you
listed
hold
on the
on one
committee.
second, Jeff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Jeff, I apologize. We do have the sub-A that is here. Why don't we,
No.
yes.
Move we indefinitely postpone Senate Bill 283 and bring before the committee Senate Bill 283 substitute A.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can the clerk please take the vote?
Senator Gallo,
Yes.
Senator Quezada,
Yes.
Senator DePalma,
Yes.
Senator Paulino, Senator Seveny,
Yes.
Senator Paulino,
Yes.
Madam, we have 6 in the affirmative.
Okay, so now we probably have 283 sub A in front of us. Jeff, could you please endeavor to explain the substitute A?
Sure. Just very briefly, let me just give you just a quick purpose and the intent of the legislation. The intent of the legislation overall is to provide an incentive for individuals who are putting forth school building and construction plans to hire locally and to include in their plans and their development plans local architects who are based in Rhode Island. And the bill goes on to define what a local architect is. The sub-A simply makes a few changes. It actually further defines the work that must be done by that Rhode Island-based firm in the overall plan for a new or renovated school, a bid that's submitted to a local municipality. And it also further defines what constitutes a Rhode Island-based architectural firm as defined in this new bill, and it adds the number of years that are required for a company to be registered in Rhode Island with the Secretary of State. So those are the two changes to the provisions of the bill that would incentivize hiring local architects for school bids that are submitted for either new or complete new construction or renovation of construction of schools. So I can give you a few there's some other incentives. This is based on existing incentives that are included in the school construction statutes that are in there, and particularly when it comes to the school planning board in the statute. And those other incentives include, any kind of consolidation of grades in particular schools, renovations in regional school districts, safety and security measures added to school building plans, hazmat remediation provisions that are included in school construction plans, and efficiencies in both energy and water consumption. All of those include incentives when it comes to the scoring of RFPs when submitted for consideration by municipalities. And this would be just one other incentive that would be included, and it would require that a bid include a Rhode Island-based architectural firm as defined in the bill. And the reason for this is that over the years, and particularly in the last 3 years, since we've seen a proliferation of construction incentivized by the General Assembly's passage of the bond referendum question that the voters passed in 2018 for $250 million, I should say, in new construction school planning. We have seen, unfortunately, a lot of the municipal school projects, most recently one was highlighted, the East Providence High School, have gone to firms that are out of state. We've seen firms, in particularly in East Providence, it's an architectural firm based out of Massachusetts, and in some other jurisdictions we've seen architectural firms from Connecticut and other Massachusetts entities be awarded those contracts. So despite the efforts and bids put forth by a lot of architectural firms based here in Rhode Island employing Rhode Islanders and that have been based in Rhode Island for a number of years, they are losing out to some firms who have some experience or have done other projects in Massachusetts, given the amount of work that has been conducted in municipalities for school construction prior to the last few years in Rhode Island. So we feel this is an incentive for hiring local, supporting local businesses, particularly those in the architectural firms that are employing Rhode Islanders, and we think this is a good addition to some incentives that already exist in the school construction laws and provisions. Just so you know, also, there are other states that do have residential and local bidder preferences. Some of those states include Connecticut, where there is a preference for firms that are located within 100 to 50 miles of a particular project are given preference for construction and services in Connecticut. In Massachusetts, I know that comes up a lot. In Massachusetts, a lot of the provisions are not done at statewide, but are done at the local jurisdiction. So there are preferences for Massachusetts-based firms that are embedded in local procurement laws. There are also some local preferences in the state of Virginia, where domestic companies that can provide services are given preferences in the procurement process there also. And many other states have what they call reciprocity, where if the bid is of equal value in their bids, that there is a preference given to the local companies, or if there's a local component to that company, they are given preference. And lastly, I just want to mention there already exists in Rhode Island and in general law, it's actually General Law 37-2.80, and that is actually where there is a preference given to Rhode Island companies if the vendor or service provider is headquartered in Rhode Island. If all other things are equal in that bid, the bid which contains an entity who is located in Rhode Island is given preference. So that's on the services provision of Rhode Island law for the Department of Administration to take that into consideration. So that already exists. So I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have, and happy to do so right now. And again, thank you very much, Madam Chair, for your support on this issue.
Jeff, I have to say thank you so much, and I do concur with you, obviously, which is why I put the legislation in. I think it's very important that we have our architects in Rhode Island working and not bringing in out-of-state companies. We've had this for a few years now, and I'm hopeful that there'll be a meeting of the minds, because I think whatever we can do to keep our businesses going in Rhode Island, it makes us all better and stronger. That being said, do any of the committee members have any questions or comments for Jeff? Okay, so thank you, Jeff, for coming in today. Did you have somebody else in your office that wanted to speak?
You know what? I did. Let me check to see if this might work. I know that they had a conversation with Chairwoman, and let me see if it's possible. Can you give me a minute?
Yes.
Or maybe even 2 seconds to see if this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Luis, you ready to go? Madam Chair?
Yes. Hello?
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Senator Gallo, my name is Louis Torado. I am the president of the Associated Architects of Rhode Island, and we are most appreciative for all your efforts over these years in trying to help us with this very serious issue. It has been a few years since we raised this concern. Since that time, our worst nightmares have come true. Every major project, school project that has gone out in Rhode Island has been awarded to out-of-state firms. Not just East Providence, Newport,
elementary school, high school, all of Cranston school projects, North Providence, Pawtucket, Barrington, Lincoln. And in all of these projects, these out-of-state firms come and take the whole job without having any local participation. So it's been devastating for the architectural community, not only loss of revenue, but a brain loss where a lot of our talented employees move to work with these out-of-state firms. Now, why is this happening? It is not because Rhode Island doesn't have good architects. It is not because Rhode Island architects are less creative or less hardworking. It's happened because Rhode Island had a moratorium on school construction for 8 years, during which we had no new school projects to do. During that time, I should mention, it was impossible for us to get work in Massachusetts or in Connecticut. So what is happening is a huge economic impact in the region. Local architects hire local engineers, local consultants, printers, and other associated services. So it has a ripple effect on when you keep these dollars in the state. Instead, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars have gone out to out-of-state firms. So I want to be as brief as I can. I want to, again, thank you and appreciate Jeff connecting me to this. My associate, another member of the Rhode Island Association, will further discuss what he has run up against when he tries to compete in other states.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank you very
you
much. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Thank you. Are there any questions for this witness? There being none. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Edward Rouse. Hello, Mr. Rouse.
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for coming in today. Sorry about that technical problem earlier.
Okay.
Would you like to testify?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Madam Chairman, thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Edward Rouse. I am Secretary to the Board of the Associated Architects of Rhode Island. I'm here representing them on their behalf. We are extremely upset with what's been going on with the way the school have been, educational facilities have been run through the state of Rhode Island for the past 4 years. I'm sure that you're aware that there are a number of school districts that are going through new construction projects, and they are all being designed by out-of-state firms. Newport, $100 million new high school has gone to a Delaware firm. Pawtucket has 2 elementary schools and the renovation of the Shea High School to a Connecticut firm. The Barrington Middle School went to a Massachusetts firm. East Providence High School, $189 million facility, going to a Massachusetts firm. There's Lincoln, North Providence, Johnston. These are all out-of-state firms. Rhode Island architects, we cannot get a job in Rhode Island. We're looking just to get on an even playing field. I had an experience where I went before Massachusetts School Building Authority for an informational interview to try to get into the Massachusetts field. And it was a very rude interview. And when we were done, the chairman came to me and he said, "Why would we ever hire a Rhode Island firm when there are plenty of good architects in Massachusetts? We can't get work in Mass, but yet they can come into the state of Rhode Island and get these $100 million schools like it's tomorrow." The other thing that we are very upset about is we have 2 good architectural educational programs in the state, Roger Williams University and Rhode Island School of Design. We've got talented people graduating from these schools. I've hired them as interns every summer long, and yet I can't keep them here because we don't have the workload. All we're looking for is this bill to come forth and put us on an even playing field with these out-of-state firms. I say I don't know of any school project that's being built or designed in the last 4 years that are being represented by a Rhode Island architect. And we feel that it's unfair. I think this bill will put us on an even playing field.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Mr. Rouse? There being none. Thank you, Mr. Rouse. I concur with you, and hopefully we can get this straightened out so that we can keep all of this business in Rhode Island. And as Jeff Taylor just recently said, it all, once we can get this passed, then we can keep all of the engineers and all the other byproducts of architecture here and have everybody employed. And I certainly am very, very looking forward to this passing. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, at this point, do I have a motion to hold? That concludes the hearing on
So moved.
283A.
Second, Madam Chair.
Been moved to hold and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Can the clerk please call the roll call?
Senator Gallo?
Yes.
Senator Quezada?
Yes.
Senator DePalma?
Yes.
Senator Paulino?
Yes.
Senator Seveny?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 5 in the affirmative.
Thank you. So 283A is held. That concludes everything that we had on the agenda today. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
Well done, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Bye-bye.